I knew I'd been wanting to kind of move away what I've been doing, which was project management, and move more into product, but I was having a really hard time like figuring out how to navigate that change. And I just kind of started scrambling and trying to figure out how in the world I was gonna try to make this change for myself. Um, and I stumbled across product school. So I did the course and I did learn from it, but I didn't come out of it feeling really sure of myself in terms of being able to actually find a role in product. I felt more confident in my knowledge, but I didn't feel confident like looking for jobs or even feeling like I had a network that I could rely on. And at that point, my job had just become more and more and more unbearable. And it finally got to this point where I would kind of like start applying for jobs and then start doubting myself and be like, I don't even know if I should be applying for this job. I don't know if this is something I would even want to do. I have no idea if I would be good at this. And then I would just give up after applying for a job or applying for jobs for a couple of weeks, and I'd give up and doubt myself and feel bad, try to refocus on my current job, and then realize how much I hated it and how depressed it made me, and restart the cycle over again. And that happened like 3 or 4 times probably, where I go and apply for jobs, give up, and then try to focus on what I was doing. That would make me feel worse, start over again. And it just kept spiraling and spiraling until I was just feeling just so depressed and so just broken. Like I had no confidence at that point. I didn't feel like I knew how to show that I was capable. And at that point I was starting to doubt whether I was capable at all. And I didn't feel like there was anyone in my court who I could ask questions to or rely on. I just felt so alone and so stuck and just so like kind of just basically unhappy at this point. Like my depression about my job had started just seeping into every part of my life, where I couldn't enjoy the things that I even enjoyed doing in my time off because I was just dreading going back to work the next day or on Monday. And like, yeah, there was like even a day where I was laying on the couch and I like couldn't move because I was just so upset about everything. um, And so I sent you a message being like, hey, can you just tell me what it is you do? I see that you're a career coach. I don't know anything about it. And that's when you invited me to get a virtual coffee. And all of a sudden, it felt like I was in a therapy session where you were asking me these questions that I'd been too afraid to ask myself. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to start crying or something. And you basically went over how your program worked. You were very like, this is it. This is when you start working hard. And if you're ready for that, then I will work with you. And I was just like, okay, I guess this means I'm ready to start working hard, like in a way that I haven't tried before. Um, and it was just like, you know, that's when the doors just kind of opened for me. And suddenly there was just like this glimmer of hope that maybe something was going to work. And one thing that really excited me was the way that you talked about your program was, and the way that you talked about the way you approach all of this was, it was just this 180 difference from everything that I'd tried before. It was different advice from anything anyone else had given me before. It was different constructive criticism than anyone else had given me before. And so it just kind of in the back of my mind was, if everything I've tried has hit a brick wall, then maybe I do need to do the opposite. And this looks like the opposite. So I'm going to go for this. And that's kind of how I ended up stumbling into the program. I think I was very lucky to actually find you. I think 6 or 8 months ago, I wrote in my journal, like, all I want is to, be in a new place, have a new job. That's something I'm excited about doing. That's for a company that I think is interesting. And I want to have time off before I start. And I really want to have 2 cats. And I have all of those boxes ticked right now. And I really didn't think that that was going to happen. But it's like one of those very rare moments in life where suddenly I just got everything I wanted. And I'm shocked and like terrified that that happened. One thing that I loved in the end, after going through the process and after creating the stories, was having them, which took off like a huge I don't know, anxiety burden that comes in when you are interviewing because I didn't have to think on the spot anymore. And I didn't have to like rack my brain to try to remember what it was. The way you taught me to change my resume for job postings basically changed my life in terms of being able to apply for jobs, definitely changed my experience this time around. Because up until then, it had been kind of the most tormenting part of the whole process for me, where all I knew was like, this is the part of the process I have control over. The only part of the process I have full control over is what my resume looks like and what it says. So I spent hours and hours and hours and hours every time I was trying to go and apply for jobs, just being like, how do I make my resume say what they wanted to say? How do I follow all of these like resume guidelines that all of these experts give me? Like, how do I make sure it's one page? Do I make sure these bullets are only this long? And like, spent so long on it. And, half of the advice out there is crap anyway, like, doesn't matter, doesn't work. So to have you be like, this is how it works, this is what you can change. And I was like, this is straight from, yeah, straight from God, basically. I needed this.